Okay, I just want to welcome everyone to the webinar, Can Online Rehab Break the Revolving Door of Addiction-Rehab-Relapse? Yehuda Leff will be presenting. Yehuda Leff has been working at Retorno for about 10 years, and he's been an important figure leading the adoption of Retorno's in-person community-based support program in Israel, Mifkashim, for online delivery. Yehuda has been a key player in applying the lessons learned in Israel to the development of the online intensive outpatient program, IOP, supporting Jewish communities in English-speaking countries and in Latin America. The online IOP has some important differences, including significant enhancements to the mental health elements of the program. So with this brief and entirely insufficient introduction, I will turn over the microphone to Yehuda. And just a reminder to everyone to please mute themselves while Yehuda is speaking, and we'll hopefully have some time for Q&A afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So we ready? We're ready to go. Okay, so good evening to everyone. My name is Yehuda Leff. I'm a social worker working in Retorno for a while. Having this really special job working with addicts all over the world. I think, you know, one of the most special things about addicts is after you find and look and search the inside of them, so you find out inside that big soul, inside that big heart of these people, and you find from the outside, it looks very different. It looks like something so bad, and they're running away from something. And you know, when you search and you look for the inside and you find what's happening inside there, that big heart of them, I think it's a very, very special job to do. So we want to, in the short time we have together this webinar, so I want really to try saying what we have inside our program, how we look about addictions, and all about our, the outpatient program, and we are figuring out how to work it. It's working for a while, and I want to give us maybe a little examples of what's addiction for us. So we speak about addictions, we speak about all the different kinds of addictions, okay? We speak about drugs, we speak about alcohol, we speak about gambling, but working with addicts, we found out so many addictions are all around. So you could be addicted to sex, you could be addiction to media, you could be addiction to people, okay? And the codependency is a very big part of the outpatient program, working with people dealing with addicts. And we're figuring out sometimes this looks exactly like addiction because I'm suffering from something, I can't stop it, and I'm staying inside of it. Okay, so our outpatient inside Retorno, we work a lot with sex addiction and media addiction, and also addiction to people. So I want to give you like one example, and then we'll figure out what we do in this place called Mifkashim, okay, in our outpatient. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Okay, a beautiful couple, 25 years old, come together to our place. They sit down together with us. I'm a social worker. With me, the principals, all the head of the place, and we sit down together with them. And she starts to cry, and she says, "Oh my God, my parents gave us a lot of money to start our life when we got married. I'm pregnant in the 7th month. I'm supposed to, starting our life, and I realized my husband is escaping. He's not there." And then we figuring out this guy is addiction, and she found out inside his phone, and she sees all this crazy stuff this person is dealing with different women, sex, all the different kind of things. And she's shocked, and she's sure he's like out of it. She tried to stop it, and we told her, okay, this guy has a very big problem. He is an addict. And in that moment, and we told her he needs treatment, and the right one. And she says, well, he's a normal person. He have the problem, just help him. And when trying to figuring out the addictions, many times we see the people around her, around the addict, really keep him over there. They keep the addiction. Sometimes they support the addiction by lying for that person. And when we're trying to help him, sometimes we'll help the family first. Like in that case, that guy didn't want treatment. His wife wanted him to go to treatment. So in that case, we will help the woman first to really know what she wants, to do the best boundary she's supposed to give to her husband. and start to her life to live in a lot better place. And we see the husband will come later, he'll come to the treatment. Okay, so outpatient is something very, very special because we have the different kind of treatment. First of all, we have, the social worker working with the addict. That's something. But we know always when working with addicts, it doesn't matter how good a therapist I am. If I sit down one-on-one against addiction, it's almost not possible to work with because it's so powerful, it's so big. And in the middle of the night, the guy he needs it so bad, he doesn't have who to call because the therapist is not supposed to be there for him. And so we have to find a group therapy. Okay, and working with addictions all over the world, I think the biggest powerful treatment for addiction is the group. Part of what the group is so powerful is, I think the most funniest addiction I ever met in my life was a guy sat down with us and we didn't understand what's his addiction. So I sat down together with him in this beautiful place in Israel over here in the mountains next to our rehab, Retorno. And I sat down together with him and I asked him, what do you think you need treatment for? And he says to me, no, you'll laugh at me if I'll tell you. I said, try. And he says, I'll tell you the truth. I think I'm addicted to lies. I all the time lie. So I smile. He says to me, why are you laughing at me? So I told him, because I don't know if you're telling me the truth now. Okay, so the guy had a big smile afterwards. I think something about addiction is everything is when you're addict to lies. Something over there is a lot easier. Something over there you don't have to deal with what's happening inside. And when a person comes and he starts sobriety and he starts to be sober, we find out right away, okay, something is hitting there inside. And working with group therapy is a person needs to sit down not only with the therapist, sitting down with a group and saying, this is who I am. I'm not hiding anymore. And we see that is a very, very big, powerful way of working with addicts. Okay, and so our outpatient program is something very special. After the corona, we saw also before, but in the corona, it got a lot bigger. The COVID did all the world crazy. And we realized we can't bring all the people to us. So we figured out in the middle of the time, so we have to find our outpatient program, also in video, also working far away. And I'll give you like two examples how beautiful it's working. Okay, so I have two clients now in my mind. One guy is from Hong Kong and one guy is from Australia. Okay, and these guys, both of them are addicts to sex. Both of them are from the frum community. And both of them are hiding for many, many years. They're doing beautiful things in their life, both clients, okay? And I'll take the one example, the guy from Australia. Okay, he's a rabbi. He's working and doing amazing stuff where he lives, but he has a secret inside of him. No one did know about it. Not his wife, not his family, not his friends. He knew inside of him, he has a very, very powerful addiction to sex. Okay, he could go in the middle of the street with the rabbi's face, with the beard, with the hat, with the jacket, and he could come to someone in the middle of the street and tell her, sorry, I could have a hug. And people look at him like crazy. And he's such a normal person in all different aspects in life, except of this powerful addiction, he's not able to stop. And he heard a lecture once and he called us and he asked for help. And I sat down with him for one meeting and I never met him. For the last 11 months, I never met him personal. I'm working with him from far away. He's from Australia, he's from here. He's working with with all the of the outpatient we have. And we started working. Slowly after he got a little bit to sobriety, he realized and he started speaking about himself. And he started speaking about what he's hitting from the age of 8 and what he's hiding inside. The pornography, the masturbation, and all the different kind of using sex. And he said inside of him, he's feeling all the time like he's two people. And I sat down in the beginning. He said, no way in the world I'm going to sit down in a group and saying what I'm saying to you. I told him it won't work if you won't be in a group. And suddenly he decided, I'll be in the group, but I can't show my face. I told him, it doesn't work. You have to be who you are. And he sat down in the group, and slowly, by listening to other people, he had the ability also to speak about what he feels. And he realized his problem, like we really believe in addiction, his problem is not sex. Sex was hiding something inside. And he was able to speak about his relationship with his parents. And slowly, he took out his story. When he was the age, and working in his community, they sent him to every different places. In the age of 13, they sent him to Israel from where he lived. And this guy came here, and he was by his grandfather. And his grandfather started abusing him, sexual abuse. And he tried doing whatever, but no one in the world knew that, his grandfather. Later, after he started doing his job, he sat down with his father, and he told him, Father, when I was young, the age of 13, I was sexually abused. And right away, the father said, don't tell me it's my father. Okay, and how crazy that is to think about that guy coming and really opening. His father knew that. He knew he's in trouble, and he sent him over here to Israel to be with his grandfather. But that secret took it out, and he realized he had so many secrets inside of him. Okay, so our way of looking about addiction, it doesn't matter if I'm running away to gambling, sex, drugs. The problem is not the drug. Exactly like when you'll be addiction to food, the food is not the problem. The problem is that something inside of there is something is hiding there. And the lie is what we see outside. And sometimes our lie is believing we have to fight the drugs. But when I speak to people, it doesn't matter, all over the world, we have close to 30,000 people by us in Retorno. We meet every year from outside, normal people, from the army, rabbis, students, the kids, it doesn't really matter. And when we meet them, we always speak about the same idea. We speak about addiction. The drug is not the problem. The problem is every one of us, and we believe every person in the world is dealing with what's happening inside. And when a person is feeling things and he's not able to feel it, he needs to feel good. So he has all these different kind of buttons inside his life. He presses them, and then something comes out of his brain, and he feels good. When someone starts a sobriety, the problem is not only stopping the drug, and it doesn't matter what the drug is. That's the easy part. Even in the hardest drugs, we see in the detox, it's very, very difficult. Some people get to very, very bad places, but the detox is not the big problem. The main issue is dealing what's happening after a person, after many, many years in his life, he used to run away, he used to escape every time he felt. And then suddenly he got to that place he needs to feel again. And the group therapy inside Retorno or wherever it will be, we see a person is starting to feel again. He's starting to speak about what he feels inside. And when he starts to speak, he's starting to be honest, starting to look into truth. He's not escaping anymore. And I think that's the most beautiful part we see, and also in the outpatient program and this new program we really having, the IPO. So we really, all this treatment, working with a very special therapist, he's on top of us, and he gives us all the advice. Gil Braverman, he's really giving up for this program, and he's trying to get inside of it. He's into it, and we get all the support, all the professional way to work with addicts, not only in the way of sitting down one-on-one of them, not only building a group through the phone, sitting down wherever they are, and they sit down and they feel something they never felt before. They feel someone could understand what's happening inside. Okay, so in our way of looking about addictions, so we understand we have 3 different topics we have to deal with. We have to deal with the physical part. Okay, and the physical part, in some drugs, let's say weed and that kind of stuff, we see that's not the biggest part. That's not the biggest problem. But we have to work very, very hard about the emotional part, and we have to work also about the part we believe inside is like kind of the spiritual way. All the addicts, when they speak about their addiction, they speak about the black hole. Something inside of them really pulls them in all the time. And when we work with these people, we have to give them not only hope, not only a place to really speak about what they feel, because that's very important, but even giving them the purpose, what you passed could help a different person in a different world. So when we work with the addicts, we're not only working in the professional way, we work also with different addicts, like every different kind, I think, with working with addicts, giving the other addict, the person really passed this program, to sit down also one-on-one and also on the 12 steps program, and sitting down together also in the groups and giving that together. We feel that's the best way of really dealing with the addiction. It's not only staying down, not only the social worker, the psychologist sitting down one-on-one with them. It's not only sitting down in a group, speaking very deeply what's happening. That's not always enough. We need the one-on-one with the addict, telling the other addict, it worked for me. If it works for me, it could work for you. And not only that, if right way, I don't know if I meant, and then in that moment, the person really gets, I guess you didn't see me for one moment, and then in that moment, the person has a purpose to what he passed. Okay, and I want to give you one example. I don't know how long we got. I'll check it out. Okay, and I'll give you only one more example of the group therapy. How important that is. I sat down in the group of women, and women in addiction is sometimes it's a different world of men in addiction. Okay, it's a lot of hurting themselves, using sex to hurt themselves, and going back to places they were. It's not easy. And we sat down, and one of the girls she was sharing about she met inside the same place, same room she was. She realized that one of the girls really she when she was drunk one time, she abused her. And when she saw her, all her body was shaking. And she said she doesn't deserve anything. She doesn't deserve to be here. We have to kick her out right away. And she was crying, and all her body was shaking. And then in the same room, sat down another girl, and she starts to cry. And we asked her why, because I was sure in that moment she also felt the same thing. But she said, when I was using, I also hurt different people. And you saying I don't deserve to get a chance, and I know what I feel. And the group therapy got to both girls to bring to both sides. Understanding every person, when you have an addiction, you also get hurt and you also hurt other people. And we have to accept both sides of us. So I think these are the very, very big tools we're working inside Retorno. And we see how amazing, this understanding this guy was for almost 35 years he was using, and he stopped using because working from far away. And he's coming to Israel after all these 11 months of working with him. And he's coming here the first time to meet me. Okay, and I think this is one of the most beautiful things. I never met him, but I feel I know all his life. And seeing how this could work is something very, very special. I'm very blessed to be a part of. Okay, so I'll be very happy to answer questions if someone wants to ask questions.
Yeah, Yehuda, could you talk a little bit more about the mix of the therapy, the group therapy, the one-on-one psychological therapy, the 12-step group, and the mentoring from the one-on-one mentoring?
Yeah. So like I said, we have 4 different kind of treatment inside this treatment. We work one-on-one. The therapist will sit down together with the client and working, you know, about the past, talking about all the emotional part. The therapist is not giving advices. He's just there for the other guy and giving him the ability to do the journey inside his life and looking inside what he passed. And the same idea, the group therapy, we'll work in the same way, but it will work in the group. We'll see every person takes a different part. Like the example I brought you about every person, with some person is the guy who got hurt, the other guy is the guy who hurt other people, and they starting to live together. And the group therapy is very, very powerful because you get to a very, very deep level. We see I can't get there sometimes only in one-on-one. Then we have the mentor. The guy really passed it already, and he's there for the other guy. So for that, it's not an hour in a week. That means he's supposed to be there for the other guy pretty much every moment of the day, if he could. Okay, but he can't be there every second. So because of that, we also work on the 12 Steps program. The 12 Steps program is something all over the world. And I guess every person really knows about addiction, knows about the 12 Steps. It's a beautiful program. I don't know, like 1,000 of groups all over the world. And it's working for many, many people. It's not enough because in our point of view, what we see, because 12 Step program is they don't have the therapy. And when the therapy works together with the 12 steps, then we see how that really brings the best result we see. So I think, and of course, the 12 steps program is a place you could share, you could feel connected, you could feel you're not lonely anymore. That's the 4 parts we try to get together. And when we have control about that, because we know what's happening, we speak with the mentor, we work together, we know what's happening, then we see the best results we could ever get when working with addicts. Okay, more questions?
I have another one, but I'll see if anybody else wants to jump in first.
Okay, Catriel.
Okay, this new online intensive outpatient program, do you think that would have been possible to develop without the experience you learned by trial and error in Israel as the Mifgashim outpatient program moved online?
In the beginning, also I was very, I was not sure it really will work. Okay, because being a therapist, I need to feel a person. I need to be together with him. But working in Mifgashim in the outpatient and realizing it could work also when he's not in a rehab, also when he's not closed down. If a person will have a schedule and we'll build it for him, so we see it was working. Slowly, because what's happening now, we started developing and seeing how it's working. So slowly it worked also not only when they come to us and feel at home in us, they could sit down in their house, they could sit down in their car and take that time for themselves and building in their place. They don't have to come to us. And we realize it's also working, not only because, the corona, we have to do that, okay? And we have to build it. I think all over the world, everything changed. But I think also a little bit before, I'm working already close to 4 years, I'm working with these people over the world, okay? But it was not enough because we had to build exactly like we had in the outpatient. We have to build all 4 parts of the therapy to get it together, and that we had to build in Mifgashim in the last period of time, and get it in the most professional way. Getting an advisor, getting we have this guy I was speaking about. He's a very big part of Retorno for 20 years, and Gil Braverman, and he's amazing in advising and giving the all the workers inside and this program is getting the best advice we could get in the most professional way. Okay, Catriel?
Oh, great. In the last 2 minutes that we have, I'm just wondering if some of the people who are watching have anything to say about programs like this. It's kind of ambitious to make an intensive outpatient program that's online. So there's a lot of structure, 7 hours a week, but it's online. So if anybody wants to speak to that, if they think it's the best idea since sliced bread, or the worst idea since, since bug infestations, just let me know. I'm curious what you guys think.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you deal in an outpatient treatment with patients who have suicidal tendencies?
When someone wants to escape, it doesn't matter how. He could escape. But we see, I think, over 30 years, Retorno is dealing with it, dealing with people coming inside, also to the rehab and also to the outpatient. And we see how it could happen, of course. And it happened to us. We lost many patients, over these last 30 years. In the 10 years I'm there, I met a few guys I lost. But we see how when we speak about it and we let the person really let his feelings inside. Of course, if we will need, we'll have to send them, to the hospital, get inside a closed place. And of course, we're working for understanding in every moment what's our job and if we're supposed to be there now, or are we sending him to a different place. And these questions we will ask. So part of our program is having someone professional, somebody really knows about it, and he's supposed to meet him if we feel he's having a suicide thoughts, and he will meet him and he'll tell us if we could be there or not. Okay, like the same question we will have any patient, and also in the rehab and also in different places. Okay, so
Thank you.
Course we'll welcome, my pleasure.
And please send my best regards to Rav Eitan. And
I'll be happy to.
Bezrat Hashem, next time, soon, after this long COVID, when I visit Israel, I will spend some time visiting Retorno again.
Okay, you're always welcome.
Thanks.
You'll for sure be happy to see you. Okay,
Thank you very much, Yehuda, for sharing the important work that you're doing with all of us. If anyone has any additional questions, you can reach Yehuda through Retorno's website as a way to contact. I can also send out the contact information to the participants after the webinar. And again, I just really want to thank you for everyone for your time and for Yehuda for sharing his experience with us. And I'm sure we all gained a lot from this.